All right. So, Rebecca, hi, today's a big day.
Very excited.
Are you so excited for your book? I mean, today is like a day that you have been really working for a year, I think this entire year. Tell me more about how long you've been getting ready for this moment.
Well, I started writing the book 10 years ago, which I think is kind of funny and didn't get very far, put it away, and then started up again in September and put a plan together for 8 months so that today could be and I chose this day because it's the closest weekday to, anyway, it's close to May 28th, which is the anniversary in 2003 of when we incorporated. So it means something to me.
It means something huge probably to all the women who were by your side founding Impact Austin too. So I want to know, so you've been working on this, or at least the idea was sparked. The idea was sparked years ago, 10 years ago. So tell us more about why you wrote this book and why now.
So initially, it was really just going to be a love letter to my family. And I wanted to share my heart with them and thank them for all the support that they had given me along the way as I built and led and then let go of Impact Austin. And I planned to just put it in my hope chest on 8.5 by 11 paper, hoping that my grandkids that I didn't have at the time would read it someday and learn things about me that they didn't know, and maybe get to know my heart a little bit more, what motivated me in life, and kind of what made me tick. And then, of course, what my cape was made of. And then in September, I met a woman, this past September, I met a woman who became I call her my author coach. And she just inspired me to think bigger than my family. And she said, if you really are looking to inspire, others could be inspired and learn from your story. So don't think small. And she dared me to put that plan in place that I did, and to complete the book and let people know about it. And not only those who knew me, but put myself out there in social media and let people who don't know me maybe hear my story. And for those who know me, it's hard for me to resist a challenge, and it was almost like a dare. And so I was all in. And I think in the end, my heart knew all along that I needed to write this book, but my head had to catch up.
So your head caught up.
So my head caught up.
And once again, you had, it's a story of like women working together. And I think also being an advocate for you, even to yourself in some ways, the women in your life saying, you've got this, you've got a story to tell, dream big. And so tell me more about where the title of the book came from.
So it really has double meaning. In one sense, trust your cape just means taking a leap of faith, jumping off the cliff, and believing that you'll get all of the answers before you land. And I don't know if people are familiar with Guy Clark. He's a Texas songwriter, but he wrote a song about the cape. And it talks about a little boy who stands on top of a garage, and he has a flour sack tied around his neck, and he's getting ready to jump off the garage. And it just reminds me of myself, where that's just kind of who I am. It mirrored the way I think. And I think just like that young man on top of the garage, I didn't know I couldn't fly, so I did. And so I see the trust your cape part being the leap of faith. I also, I believe that we normally think of our cape as something worn on the outside, but what I've learned is it's really the stuff on the inside that gives us our power. For me, I call it grit or spunk, moxie, whatever you want to call it for yourself. it's that fighting spirit that's inside of each of us that whispers, keep going, even when we think we can't. And we all have a cape. And I just encourage readers to figure out what theirs is made of. So those are the two aspects of the cape that I bring those threads to bear throughout the book.
So, so Rebecca, and I just want to ask you, it sounds like your greatest journey leading up to writing the book. You've experienced so many joys, and I really encourage folks to buy the book on Amazon today and hear more about that journey of your personal journey. But just in the writing process, can you talk a little bit about what your greatest joy was in writing the book, and what you learned about yourself in the process?
So the journey took me in a couple directions I wasn't expecting. And I didn't think that I needed to be as personal initially in the telling of my journey, and that I should just talk about things that happened, but not exactly all the specifics and how they went down. And I had an incredible editor who challenged me to be extremely vulnerable. And I will tell you, that has been a journey to be comfortable, opening myself up. There are parts in that book where I'm not behaved very well. There are parts where I didn't know how to lead. And so I didn't always do things the best way. And I realized by sharing that Impact Austin is still a great organization, but we can have our challenges, we can fail forward, we can learn. And all of that happened in the writing process as well. So I related a lot of what I learned about, and I learned some things about myself in the writing process. And some of my insecurities showed up again. Sometimes people are like, oh, you're so confident. You know, you never feel insecure, which is not true. And so I found that being authentic, vulnerable, and genuine that's where I had to be in my heart to write the book, so that I wrote the truth and believed every word that I said. But I will tell you the greatest joy, and I don't think I've really shared this, but reflecting on that, I have reconnected with my sister, Amy, whom you've met. She and I, she is my publicist, for lack of a better word. I call her my chief cape wrangler. And she does a lot of work getting people interested in having me speak and sell my book. But our lives went in different directions for a good number of years. And we found each other again. And it's the most beautiful thing. And she is wickedly creative, and she sees opportunities before I do. So to have her to support is a gift that is priceless. And had I not written this book, we would not have rekindled our wonderful sister relationship and friendship. So right now that ranks as the greatest joy.
And that's really, again, you sharing, much like in the book, something deeply personal about reconnecting with your sister. And I'm sure that she's one of the women out there who are super proud of you, and also are trusting their cape because of what they learned from you. And so I just wanted to remind folks who I am on with today on our Facebook Live is with Impact Austin's founder, Rebecca Powers, today published author of the book, Trust Your Cape, How Women Find Their Power in Giving Back. It's available on Amazon today. And I know Rebecca was telling me she had some early purchases from some new names, and also from longtime Impact supporters who've been reaching out about how to get the book on Amazon. Part of the proceeds of the book go to support Impact Austin's endowment, which also means Impact Austin's permanence, that Rebecca built something so powerful that it will live on beyond all of us. So I know that you have limited time, but I had a couple more questions I wanted to touch on with you about the top two. So if we have a few minutes, what are the top two learnings that you want the readers of your book to glean from Trust Your Cape?
So I think one of the biggest learnings that all of us as Impact Austin members have experienced as investors is, and I'll go back to the very beginning. We were all excited to find 126 women who each gave $1,000, and we were going to give, or we gave $126,000 to LifeWork for a job training program. And we felt really good about what we had done and the lives we were going to change. And it wasn't but about less than a month after we gave that first grant, a couple of the other finalists who didn't get money from us, the committees that had recommended them as finalists band together and collected more money and gave these nonprofits contributions out of their own pockets, not as part of Impact Austin. And it occurred to me when that happened that giving transformational grants can certainly help the community, but being a philanthropist transforms the giver even more. And I believe that the biggest impact Austin has had in the community is the number of women who now believe they can give more than they ever have, that they have the capacity to do it and do it well. And we need to celebrate that and understand that the transformation is really in the heart of the giver. And that had never occurred to me until Impact Austin started. And I think it's something we should celebrate. The other thing that I learned, and the thread is throughout the book, is how powerful role modeling is. And it showed up with my family when they saw me giving back, because we had not been a philanthropic family. And they wanted the joy that they saw I had. And it was what I was doing that was attractive, not anything I said. And it just and that happened the very first year. And it was such a good reminder to me that my words needed to mirror my actions. And role modeling as a leader in the organization and what good leadership is, that was something I had to learn. So I wasn't always a good role model, but my behavior, my actions are what dictated whether people would follow or not. It wasn't my words. And I think that goes for anything in life, philanthropy and otherwise. So I would say those are the two top learnings for me. And I think if they're for me, they're for everybody else too.
I completely agree. And it sounds like people of all genders have been really inspired by your work, but also I think all ages too. And I think the way that over the last 18 years, Impact Austin has ushered in generation after generation of new philanthropists. Something else that came out in your book is that philanthropy comes in all sizes and can be learned at any age, and it's never too early or too late to start. And I think what you've created here in Impact Austin are your words in motion, and your philanthropy comes out in how contagious you make the feeling that we get from giving, that you have the ability to articulate it so well, both in writing in your book, Trust Your Cape, but also in your speaking. I was talking to a member yesterday that was so excited that she joined Impact Austin while you were still very involved. It was hearing you speak and hearing the Impact Austin story that got her involved. She's now a leader in the organization, relatively new to the organization. So even in the last few years, she's grown so much to the organization. But something that she brought up is that we've got a whole slew of new members. We had 75 members this year join during COVID because there was an outpouring of support in the community. and they were hearing your story for the first time. And she was pointing out about this powerful experience that people can read your book and get to know you and find out how they can gain power in giving back from Trust Your Cape. And so I think you've really created a guidebook for us in some ways of how one woman can find her ability to make an impact. So I think it'll inspire generations of women to continue getting involved in collective giving. So once again, it sounds like from the writing process, you've learned as much about yourself as you have about the impact you've made collectively in the community. So I would love to know, what's next for Rebecca Powers? What's next for you?
Well, I've got this flour sack tied around my neck because I'm about ready to jump off the next cliff. And I don't know how it's going to play out, but I'm all in for the experience. And my vision, once I knew that this book would be a reality, is for me to have the opportunity to speak to groups of women and inspire them to find their cape, to understand what their cape is made of, and to go out and make a difference. So my next project is I am working with a woman who happens to be in San Diego, writing an 18-minute TED-like talk, just with all the elements, not to be a TED talk, but that I can have a story to tell based on my book. And she helps people develop their story, finding the nugget and helping to make it interesting. And then I will take that on the road. And there are a few places in the country who have invited me already. And at some point, I hope that I will monetize that so that I can fund the endowment even more. So that's the exciting future. I just don't know what it looks like.
No, it is. Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, you're jumping off a cliff, but as you know, now you've got a cape. And you also have so many women, thousands of women across the country that have your back and are big supporters because you helped them found their collective giving circles across the country. And we've had so many of them reach out to Impact Austin once they found out about your book, asking how they can support Impact Austin's endowment. Of course, one way is to make a contribution. That's a big way, and they've done that in your honor. So I just want to let everyone know that in honor of Rebecca's book being published, endowment chair Sarah Panton and Rebecca, who is the namesake of the Impact Austin Endowment, the Rebecca Warren Powers Impact Austin Endowment, raised $100,000 for our endowment, doubling our endowment this year in honor of this incredible accomplishment. And these contributions came from near and far. So of course, while we're still taking contributions for the endowment, one really great way to support Impact Austin's endowment, support Rebecca, our founder, and helping to promote our story, Impact Austin's story, is to buy the book today on Amazon. And I can shortcut that for you by saying you can go to Amazon.com and search for Rebecca Powers, Trust Your Cape, How Women Find Their Power in Collective Giving and Giving Back. Or you can go to Impact Austin's website and impactaustin.org /Trust Your Cape. You'll get all the information. You'll be able to just click there, go directly and buy the book. And then also listen to some other podcasts. Obviously, I'm not a professional interviewer. I do my best in my role, but there are some really great recorded podcasts where you've sat down and recorded your story. And I have to say, knowing you for the last several years, I learned new things through those. So you can check out our Trust Your Cape page on Impact Austin's website. We'll be posting the link here on Facebook in the chat. Rebecca, I hope you're going to celebrate today. You have anything special planned?
Well, so let me just add one more thing, because if people buy the book today, and there are instructions on the website, but send me a proof of purchase via email, I have a special edition signed bookmark that I will send, and I'm in the process of doing that as emails are coming in. And it's kind of like Christmas, because I see all these names of people. Somebody who has not been a part of Impact Austin for years and moved to Colorado, but she was still in my contact list. And she's like, oh my gosh, I want to buy one for each of my adult daughters. And so it's fun to get those, to see those connections, and that clearly they had a great experience with Impact Austin and just want to know what I'm going to say about it. So, and honestly, I'm not necessarily doing anything extra special to celebrate, because what I'm enjoying is writing little notes to all these people who are buying my book, and that just feeds me. So,
and that's like a tiny little celebration that they get in the mail. It's like,
yeah,
little,
and then they get. And I tell you, it's so funny. So far, everyone who's bought the book that wants a bookmark, I know. And just putting that bookmark in the envelope and writing their name, I smile, and my husband is like, is it really that much fun? I'm like, you wouldn't believe it. It's a blast. So I feel, I'm having connections again, and that brings me great joy.
Yeah, it's just perfectly timed for a time when all of us are starting to reconnect with each other. And but we've learned some really great stuff in the virtual world. And I had some Impact Austin members reach out. And so I'm just going to throw it out to you, and we will follow up, obviously, with details, but I'd throw it out to the audience too. Would you be open to us Impact Austin members planning a book club event that you may come in, and we'll read the book as our summer reading, and then come together virtually and have a virtual book club that kicks off with your book? Would you be open to being a speaker?
I would be honored. Be honored. Hey, so this is just coming to me, talking about doing a TED-like talk. I would love to figure out a time far enough in advance where I could get my little talk together and share that with a group of Impact Austin women who have read the book to let me practice. But we could.
I would love it. I think you and I need to conspire as always for good, because I love it. I think I'm so excited about you spreading the message, obviously, through your book, Trust Your Kate, how women find their power in giving back. Our founder, Rebecca Powers, today joining us on the big launch day. So go to Amazon.com or Impact Austin's website and buy the book, share it with others. That is a beautiful cover. And I thank you. I got a very special gift yesterday from you. And I'm really just in honor of our work together. And can I just quickly show? I have to show it. Okay, I'm going to show it. But Rebecca commissioned, I'm going to turn off my virtual background so y'all can see. It's so cool. Check out this awesome art that Rebecca had commissioned. It has a beautiful yellow Trust Your Cape and this little daisy head, just little crown of daisies. And I absolutely love it. And I'm so appreciative of you. You really know how to make people feel special. And I think that's one of the greatest lessons we can all learn from the book. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful launch day. I hope you're celebrated many different ways.
Grateful. I'm so grateful. And thanks for Impact Austin's support. Without it, it wouldn't be as successful. So let's go get it done.
Yeah, let's go get it done. Thank you so much again, Rebecca. And I will see you soon.
Take care.